Welcome to the Cozy Corner. Today we're playing Castlevania for the NES. Continuing our month of October, we're going a little bit classic horror, campy, I guess. We're going to be fighting vampires and Medusa and all the kind of monsters, Frankenstein monster, everything you'd find in a, old B horror movie costume. But this time we're gonna be doing it with a big flame cracking whip. I don't know anything about Castlevania, can you tell? No, honestly, the only time I've touched this game is to like test out emulators. I've never really played through with it. My knowledge of it is pretty much is limited to what I've seen in other people doing in YouTube. Like, everyone's seen AVGN's videos on Castlevania. But, and it's not even the normal thing we do on this channel, is it? Usually we're playing indie games, and Castlevania is an established franchise, and well, maybe it's a dead franchise, depending on what Konami wants to do. But, I thought it'd still be pretty good to be playing, like, older retro games, too. Especially ones I haven't got a chance to get through, so I'm looking forward to playing some of the Castlevania games, and I think I'm going to do the Metroid series, too. So, yep, this is the first area, and it's pretty dang simple. I've heard this game is really hard. There's a couple sections I had some trouble with, but overall, I don't think this game is as hard as people crack it up to be. The controls are terrible. Jumping feels bad. And, you learn to control it. After a couple levels, you really figure things out. But it doesn't stop it from being a problem. And the enemy knockback is what's going to kill you more times than anything. Especially in these first couple levels, I'd say. I do kind of know where some of the secrets are in this game, like some of the breakable walls and stuff. I don't know why. I really haven't played the game. I guess I just remember really well, or, it could just be a couple decades of experience giving me good instincts, who's to say. So we got some evil mermen jumping up on the landing and shooting fireballs. I think you can dodge their fireball when you crouch, but I feel like I've got hit before. This first area is not a very long one. You can see each level is broken up into a couple different stages. They're listed in the top right corner. And in the first level, we're already at stage 3. I believe there's 18 total stages between all the levels. Haven't used our sub-weapons much, but I'm going to be using the axe here for this vampire bad boss. Obviously, if you haven't played Castlevania before, you might not understand what some of these things I'm picking up are. So the hearts that I get from enemies and from candles, they are basically the ammunition required to use these sub-weapons. As you can see, the bosses do a lot of damage. You can only get hit like 2 or 3 times most. But I'm gonna pull it together right here at the end, and that bat's dead. And then when you beat the boss, you get an orb. All your health's recovered, and you move on to the next stage. I'm actually kind of proud on this one. I feel like I did pretty good. It takes me a while to get used to it, but once I do, I sort of get used to the problems and just work with them. So here we are on the second stage. I'm starting to see some night enemies. A little skip there. I had to pause to use the bathroom. So far, so good on the second level. I really like the cross boomerangs. I think that's probably my favorite sub-weapon in the game. A stopwatch comes in handy in some areas, but those boomerangs are great. Now, I saw a video recently that talked about the Medusa heads, so I kind of learned one of the problems everybody had with them back in the day, and try to avoid it. So Medusa heads come from the direction you're facing. So if you turn around to try to run away from one, you're going to get them in both directions. So I sort of just forced myself to face forward when they were coming at me. You can't really jump onto objects, you have to do a weird diagonal jump if you're right next to it, and it feels awkward as hell. This is probably one of the most dangerous areas in the game when you're getting used to everything, because those Medusa heads are going to knock you off because you fall back very, very far. And you're going to see this happen to me quite a couple times before I get used to it. So I really enjoyed playing through this. I think I might play through a couple more games. I'll try Simon's Quest next, though of course we all know that one doesn't have the greatest reputation. I'd like to think that maybe there's something of merit that I might see in it. We'll see. Maybe not in October, but we'll get to it. Lots of games ready to put up and on the backlog and everything. It's kind of hard to decide what to put up. Now obviously with October you have the Halloween theme and, you know, so anything that goes along with that's pretty good. That's why we got Layers of Fear being put up. It took me a little bit under an hour to beat this game, so I'm probably just gonna upload this as one video as opposed to multiple parts. I've been trying to watch to see, like, you know, retention and stuff on longer versus shorter videos, and there really isn't much difference, honestly. At least not for someone like me who doesn't get a lot of views. Now, I think there's secrets that pop up from standing in certain spots. I think that's what was happening with the chest there. I feel like with a short game, you might as well just have it all in one go, you know? That's what I did with the first 3 Momodora games, but Momodora 4 is obviously a longer game. And it's gonna be broken up into parts. I will say I'm kind of interested in the aesthetic for the Castlevania series. Seems like it's got a very distinct, you know, look and world. It'd be interesting to really take a closer look at. Holding my breath on that one. I'm so close to falling off the edge and having to do all this. That area is a pretty slow and tedious room. And I believe there is something in the wall right here. Yep. just when I needed it too. Now this fucking sucks. You don't have to get crushed, you just have to touch it. And now it's time to stop messing around. I actually die a lot more in these second and third levels than I do in the later ones, which was weird because I can honestly say that like the later ones are harder. Well, the 5th stage is definitely the hardest one in the game, but it's more like I'm just like having to really just like be high intensity playing, you know, like really just like full stress mode while playing it, rather than, you know, dying repeatedly. I feel like I learned the basics of what you need to do to control and everything in these early levels, and so that has become less of a problem, and it's more like the challenge becomes, can I not die, you know, getting through here, as opposed to can I just make it through, you know. And there we go, see the Medusa heads in action when you turn around. So that item we picked up is basically, lets you use 2 of whatever equipped item you have. So I can use 2 holy waters. Thing is, if you switch weapons, it goes away. And you can get a 3 version too. You just gotta keep holding the same weapon for a while and not die. Holy water is pretty dang great too. It and the boomerangs are definitely the best weapons. Stopwatch has its uses. The knife is useless. Like, I hate the knife. It doesn't do shit. You just clutch and you can feel it coming, don't you? Don't worry, we won't be here much longer. That was a clear the screen item I picked up. Just thinking about this, has got really good music for an NES game. There's only a couple tracks in the game because there's only a couple stages, but they're good, you know? I mean, that main theme song is instantly recognizable and like a perfect game starter. You know what I mean? Like, just get you pumped. You gotta distance yourself a bit to get to the candles at certain heights. You hold up and attack to throw your weapons, and sometimes I do that accidentally while I'm jumping. That's what I mean, you don't even have to get crushed. But, since it limits from the room, it's not a big deal. As long as you don't run out of lives, you just start from whatever stage you're on as opposed to, level. This one kind of fakes you out a bit. I don't know if it can actually hurt you, but I don't want to risk it. These enemies right here are not too tough. I'm talking about the double skulls. As long as you hit in rhythm, you can just hit their bullets and not worry about actually getting damage from them. But if you like rapidly press, you're not going to do that. So you need to time your presses to the rhythm they shoot at. Or hit them so fast you never even have to deal with it. But that's not really a thing. Unless you have a good sub-weapon with you. Here I am trying to jump, but you have to do the diagonal jump. You can't change your trajectory when you jump after you press the jump. So if you diagonal jumped forward, there's no turning around in the middle of the jump. And that's one of the things that makes controlling it so hard. Still no sub-weapon. There was probably one of those candles, but they are almost impossible to hit when you're actually going between the things. And here we have our second boss, Medusa. So now how many sub-weapons, I'll just have to go at her with the whip. Which isn't too hard. You might get body shot from her, but you can out-damage her is the thing. And we've cleared it.